Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going on an absolute anthropological deep dive into a highly complex, incredibly vivid, and honestly utterly fascinating cosmological framework. We're going to be unpacking a translated esoteric text that attempts to map out the exact architecture of the universe, the afterlife, and human existence itself. It is a wildly intricate system, so we are going to break down its core mechanics together. All right, let's jump right in. It's literally the ultimate question, isn't it? What is actually out there beyond the boundaries of our visible universe? Well, according to the specific text we're analyzing today, the answer isn't just more empty space or dark matter. The answer lies in understanding a hidden dimension referred to as the Elysium world. And it's a concept that completely challenges everything we think we know about reality, time, and space. To get there, here is our cosmic map for today. We'll be covering the Elysium world, the unseen universe, the cosmic scale, the transit station, realms of retribution, and finally, the wise life. Kicking things off with Section 1, the Elysium world. Understanding negative space. To really wrap our heads around this, the text asks us to completely invert our normal understanding of physical reality and step into what it calls negative space. Basically, the Elysium world is defined as part of the negative universe. In this realm, time almost entirely vanishes. Objects don't exist as physical forms. They exist eternally by their true spiritual nature. To explain this, the author uses a brilliant analogy. Think about a dream. How big is the space inside your dream? You can't exactly measure it in miles, right? The text argues that the size and richness of a dream world depend entirely on the dreamer's perception and their spiritual nature. In this framework, the Elysium world operates the exact same way. Your ability to comprehend it depends entirely on your inherent spiritual mass. Moving right along to Section 2, the unseen universe, reality beyond sight. Now, a supernatural question comes up here. If the Elysium world is all around us, why on earth can't we see it? Well, the text has a very specific and surprisingly logical answer for this. Imagine you're standing in a pitch-black field. As a human, you might only be able to see the tiny, flashing lights of fireflies, but you wouldn't say the firefly is literally just a floating light without wings or a head, simply because you can't see its body, right? Meanwhile, an owl can look at that exact same dark field and clearly see rats running through the grass. The owl doesn't have magic powers, it simply has a different retinal structure. The text argues that our inability to see spirits or alternate dimensions or the Elysium world is just a limitation of our specific biological retina. It is definitely not proof that these things don't exist. So if we actually could see into this unseen universe, what would we look like? Well, according to the text, human souls appear in the Elysium world as neutral columns of light. And this is absolutely crucial. Your appearance there has nothing to do with your physical body. It's based completely on your accumulated spiritual mass, or karma. Some people barely register. They're just a dim flicker. But others, through enduring belief and self-refinement, appear as towering, seven-colored beams of light. And get this invisible life isn't just hovering around us, it permeates literally everything. The text makes the sweeping, almost staggering claim that the universe is teeming with life in places we would never even think to look. Inside vacuums, deep underground, riding on literal light rays, transmitting within radio waves, which is just a brilliantly absurd and fascinating concept, and even locked inside ancient stones recording thousands of years of history. In this specific cosmology, life exists constantly within other forms of life. Okay, Section 3, the cosmic scale, navigating the 3,000 worlds. Let's shift our focus for a second to the dizzying architectural scale of this universe. Prepare yourselves, because the text views our Earth as nothing more than a tiny, insignificant particulate. Take a look at this number, 1,860. The author explicitly calculates that it would take 1,860 years, which they equate to nearly 6 billion light years, just to cross our immediate Earth universe via a metaphysical space tunnel. That is the massive, mind-bending scale we are operating on here. So, how is that massive scale organized? Well, at the very top, you have the Grand Law Rotary System. Within that, there are over 3,000 rotary river worlds. Those break down into Milky Way systems, which finally break down into solar systems. The text states that these 3,000 worlds are further divided into 10 grand continents. But what's truly fascinating is that these aren't divided by physical geography. They are separated entirely by the spiritual frequency and the Buddha nature of the beings residing there. It's an entire cosmic architecture built purely on spiritual mass. Which brings us to Section 4, the transit station, the crossroad of souls. What actually happens when a soul needs to navigate this highly structured architecture? They go to the continent for 3 realms. This acts as a heavily regulated metaphysical transit station between heaven, hell, and earth. First, you travel down the space tunnel. Second, you cross a colorful life bridge that leads to a rainbow heaven gate. Finally, and this is honestly beautifully bureaucratic, the cosmic administration instantly faxes your soul to your next realm based on your spiritual mass. You cannot linger here. You are sorted and transmitted to your next life like a cosmic fax, entirely dependent on your past actions. Section 5, Realms of Retribution, a Dante-esque tour of the 7 doors. So where exactly do those cosmic facts end up? The text takes us on a terrifying, super vivid, Dante-esque tour guided by an angel through a tunnel containing 36 doors of the afterlife. Behind door 1, the inflaming lair. Murderers and torturers endure scorching fires. Behind door 2, the frozen lair. Piercing winds trap those who harmed the kind. But door 3 is where the imagery gets incredibly intense, the hell world. Here, oppressors and worldly bullies are chased by monsters, grabbed by bloody trees with hairy hands, and dropped into pits of venomous snakes. The text presents this not as mindless cruelty, but as strict karmic justice, a literal balancing of the cosmic scales for those who abuse their power on Earth. As we move into the middle doors, the text offers a highly unique perspective on nature. Door 4 is the plant world. Those who overconsumed ecological resources in their past lives are reincarnated as trees and flowers, destined to be chopped or eaten to repay their ecological debt. Door 5, the animal world, traps aggressive fighters and robbers in a relentless cycle of being hunted. And door 6, the livestock realm, is for worldly debtors, scammers, and greedy merchants. They are reincarnated as working horses, cows, and dogs, providing maximum service for minimal demand to literally pay off their past life financial debts. It's an incredibly wild and surprising concept. And that brings the whole tour right back to us. Door 7 is the mortal world, Earth. The angel explains that Earth is really just another central transit station. Here, humanity is split into 3 camps. The wise use this life to refine themselves for the higher realms. The unaware just drift blindly, following the crowd, and are basically destined to repeat the human cycle. But the foolish are those who desperately scramble to acquire worldly wealth at all costs, completely unaware that they are actively overdrawing their cosmic fortune and risking a serious downgrade to those terrifying lower doors. Section 6, The Wise Life, Grounding the Cosmos into Daily Action. So how do we avoid those lower doors? How do we ground this massive, overwhelming cosmic architecture into practical daily action? Well, when the narrator asks the angel this exact question, the angel gives this super profound yet simple answer. The wise life with the behavior of the spiritual nature makes the best life. Everything in this vast cosmology boils down to that single behavioral mandate. And what does that actually look like in practice? The text is remarkably egalitarian here. The angel states that the wise life isn't exclusive to one specific religion at all. It points to Jehovah's Witnesses who avoid worldly lust, monks who live with minimal demands, and modest Christians and Muslims who don't exclude others. But crucially, the angel notes that you don't even need a religious title. Everyday people who just live naturally, reduce their worldly demands, and find inner peace are also living the wise life. This sets up a critical inversion at the heart of this text: worldly success versus cosmic success. The text argues that earthly kings, elites, and scholars who aggressively chase fame, wealth, and power are actually impoverishing themselves. Gaining too much in the mortal world means you have way less stored in the celestial world. By contrast, the simple people who just follow nature are the ones quietly building ultimate spiritual wealth. Summarizing this view, the angel gets a little harsh, but offers an ultimately hopeful perspective on everyday citizens. It states that most people live blindly, like busy worms, totally distracted by the daily pressures of survival. However, if we can just adapt to nature, live simply from sunrise to sunset, and above all, maintain a peaceful state of mind, we can achieve high spiritual mass and escape the cycle. Right before the tour ends, the narrator asks if we can ever see this heavenly realm from Earth. The angel shares this fascinating final detail. You know those atmospheric mirages we sometimes see in the sky? They aren't optical illusions. According to the text, they are rare accidental glimpses of the true celestial world slipping into our physical reality. And right after revealing this, the angel abruptly pushes the narrator headfirst into a black hole, sending him plummeting back to reality and instantly ending the cosmic tour. And just like that, we are back from the black hole to our own reality. This text offers a staggering view of a universe where every action, every consumed resource, and every desire is meticulously tracked and balanced. So, leaving you with the philosophy of the Elysium world today, I gotta ask, if your current pursuit of worldly wealth is actively draining your invisible cosmic reserves, what attachments are you willing to let go of today? Thanks so much for exploring with us.